Yo, Kiah Victoria, welcome to Akinyemi's Living Room, episode 3.
Yes.
How you feeling today?
You know, I'm feeling good. The skies are giving moody, but introspective.
Yeah. So I know Kiah for a while now, a few years. Incredible singer, songwriter, incredible producer, vocal producer.
Hey.
Visionary, you know what I mean?
Yay.
All her visuals are fire. Her band is fire. Everything she stands for and lives for. And I really connect to her spirituality as well. So
Yes.
shout out Kiah. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Yemi.
Yeah.
Akinyemi. Yeah.
Yeah.
You connected to my spirituality.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Like when we was in Mexico and like I remember we was looking at the eclipse.
Oh my God. It was like the super moon.
And like you was just in your bag and I was like, yo, I should be in my bag too.
The energy was so potent. We went to, seeing the Pyramid of the Sun and the Pyramid of the Moon on the day of the full moon eclipse. Like, that's kind of once in a lifetime stuff.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. Something like my body physically changed when we entered like the threshold of the courtyard of the pyramids.
Yeah, if y'all ever in Mexico, y'all gotta go on a hot air balloon and fly over the pyramids.
Do yourself a favor.
Just like once in a lifetime opportunity experience. Yeah.
As the sun was rising, like, what is life?
Yeah.
Amazing.
So like when it comes to like self-care and stuff, how do you balance kind of the getting the work done and also taking time for yourself and to take care of yourself and the people around you?
Yes, the constant balancing act, the constant dance of like being productive, feeling like you're creating, doing the thing, and also just being a human being. I would say the biggest thing that entered my life, honestly, in the pandemic was meditation, just like classic, like sitting in lotus, paying attention to what my in-breath and out-breath felt like. Honestly, on YouTube, like there's like these 15-minute like tones that go with each chakra. If you only have a little bit of time, but you just need to drop in with yourself, that's been so amazing for me. And just like moment to moment, like to be quite honest with you, as of late, I've been talking to myself as if I'm like a toddler. And like, bear with me, like just in any given moment, it's like, are you hungry? Like, have you drank water yet? Like, how do you feel? Like, just really checking in. Cause like all of a sudden, I'll speak for myself, like emotions really are this energy in motion. It can like hit, like the wave suddenly, like the crest breaks and you're like, I don't even know how I got here. So just like slowing the fuck down mentally has been huge for me.
Period.
And I don't always succeed in a given day or a given moment, but just like, anytime I check in and I'm like feeling like I'm going through a spiral, like I can't remember the last time I took a sustaining breath that passed like my clavicles. You know what I'm saying? So just like, yeah, asking myself very simple, basic questions. Have you hydrated? Are you breathing? Like, did you stretch? Like, maybe you should step away from the computer. Have you put your feet in grass today? Like, I just moved into my own little spot, and
congratulations on that, for real.
In the Dina, and they planted some grass seeds before I left, and I came back, and it's like I have a little patch of green grass, and it's simple, but it's like to be able to just put my feet in the grass. It be the little things, man. It's the little things, and I think it's so easy for society or whoever the fuck. Also, like, I'm sorry, I'm cursing.
Nah, you're good, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Bleep, bloop.
This ain't the radio. We're good. You can curse it.
I think it's so easy to get cynical or just like cast aside very basic tools for wellness, such as putting your feet in the grass, such as taking a breath, such as, oh my God, the other day I I was actually on Jhené's Insta, and she posted this thing of this girl just tapping on her chest for 5 minutes and going, 5 minutes. I was like, you know what, let me put my phone down and actually do that for a second. I'm in the car, I haven't even got out of the car yet. And I do that for 5 minutes, and like, girl, boy, like the release that came after that.
Yeah.
Like, I like purged. Like, it was this big wave of a cry and like a purge of emotion that otherwise I don't know if I would have been able to. I didn't even know that I had that to unlodge. And suddenly there was this open space in my chest and in my heart and in my body that allowed for this thing to come out. And I was like, yo, it's so simple, but somehow it's also so simple to evade those things. So
Facts.
The long and short answer is just slowing down, actually using the tools that I've picked up along the way. Like, yeah, and I've honestly been talking to God a lot more. Like, I've really been trying to feel like in my actual physical body, like, oh, like I'm not separate from the divine. Like, not just as a theoretical thought, but like I am a part of this whole cosmic fabric, if you will. And like, there's actually, when I try to separate myself from that in any given moment, like that's when I suffer, you know? And it's like even when I like, you know, just like you have a weird thought and then you try to like damn yourself into some sort of like okayness. It's like, that doesn't make, I don't know. It's hard to like fully put into English language sometimes because it's such a like psychosomatic feeling of when you don't feel connected to whatever you want to call the great beyond, the great here, the great now. And it's also just so sweet when you're like, yo, I am this thing. Like, I am creating my life simultaneous to and in I'm losing words. Words, but are you following me?
I'm feeling what you're saying. I was gonna say like a lot of the feelings that you were just saying, like it's hard to put into words. It sometimes they can't. You know what I mean? Like, you know that feeling when either you're writing a song or you just put your feet in grass or you just got some sun, you went to the beach. Like, these are almost intangible feelings that are very hard to experience, like to explain, unless someone is there experiencing it with you in that same time and that same day. Even if they go to the beach the next day, it'll be a totally different experience.
100%.
So,
because nothing is ever the same.
Yeah.
In any given moment, like the wind's not blowing the same. Like nothing is. Yeah. This constant flow.
And even like language, I feel like is a rule. So it's like it's a kind of like we kind of use rules to kind of put things in boxes and define how we identify different aspects of our lives. So like if we are looking at this feeling or we're trying to explain something to someone else, we use language as that medium. Yeah. And very often it's hard to...
It pales in the comparison to the thing that you're actually trying to convey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Language is form. And I feel like that flow, that beauty, that oneness, it is formless. It knows no bounds. It is all encompassing. It is, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
so we have these futile and yet beautiful mechanisms of trying to communicate, which can be language, which I feel like it transmits something, but like it's never the all.
It's never the all. It's always an interpretation of what we experience. So if we are, as artists, we kind of we're very vulnerable, and like we have to constantly open up our like vulnerability to be receiving, and then we transmit through language, through however our medium or our craft is. Yeah. But that transmission is always an interpretation of what we receive. Right. And it's, you're not necessarily getting all the way, but you're like, yo, like, if you could just, you know, if you could just, you know, see what I'm seeing, if you could just feel what I'm feeling.
And like, ultimately, that's so real. Like, I feel like, because sometimes I'm like, what are we doing this for? Like, what is art? What is the purpose of this music? What is the purpose of this performance? And I think it's like, at least for me, it's like it is an attempt at transmitting the divine in some way. Like, whether it's a harmony or a melody or a lyric or like an image, like, it's just, we can only but try to mirror back to each other the grandiosity and the beauty and the totality of the source of all that is, you know? Period. And it's a what a beautiful and humbling endeavor, because God gonna be God all by herself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's sweet. I think it's sweet and beautiful and necessary and crucial for us to try to communicate those shreds and threads of the divine. And I grew up very hyper religious and have been on a journey of just like decoupling dogma with spirituality and decoupling like the rules with this benevolent, radically accepting, loving, ever giving like force, you know? And so
I relate.
Yeah. So it's such, I feel like this is the buzzword of our lifetime right now, but it's such an unlearning. It's such an unlearning to, like, this thing, it's beyond religion. It's beyond anything we can call it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't exactly know why my breath is automatic and I don't even have to think about it, but some intelligence already thought about that for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like, wow.
Yeah.
So the more that I can, okay, wow. So if that's the thing that's literally sustaining this incarnation as we know it, the more that I'm paying attention to the thing, it's probably gonna help my life's quality.
Yeah, it literally is how I live.
You
so
know,
if
it's
I
literally how I live. How could we not pay attention to it? And yet I'd pay so little attention to it sometimes.
As soon as you said breath, I was like, oh, I should probably breathe in deeper.
Like, when's the last time I did that? And it's like, it's the tale as old as time.
Yeah. It's one of those things you'll never regret a deep breath.
No, never. Yeah, you're never gonna feel worse. Yeah. After a deep breath.
Never.
Facts.
Breath has been something I've been returning to often. Kind of, whether that's first thing in the morning, deep breaths, whether that's deep breaths in terms of taking breaks or how I transition out of work. Yeah. So a lot of times I get locked in when I work. So I use other factors like timers, for example, to kind of help me get out of it and to transition to go outside and take breaths and take, exercise and things like that. Yeah. So like I'll say I'll sit down and go edit or write a song or something, like I'll set a timer for like 90 minutes. Yeah. And then that 90-minute time will go up, take a couple deep breaths, leave my desk, go outside. We're going to run, go to the gym, do what I need to do for like 30 to an hour, come back and lock in. And even if I'm working on the same thing, the amount of focus that I'll be able to have because I was able to defocus in those times has just been exponential. And that's kind of like been my workflow. Or like
refocus on the fundamental thing that's been fueling you this entire time, whether or not you were cognizant of it.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. It's cool to be like, I appreciate that in LA, like taking more time to slow down is sort of more built into, you kind of have to, like, things are just going to take longer. If you're going to get from point A to point B, like, it's probably going to be 30, 40 minutes. Right. So it's like, what am I doing with that time in between? And not that you can't do that in other cities. Shout out to New York forever and ever.
Born and raised.
But it's a different pace. I would say it's a more confronting pace. That's what I felt when I moved to this city. Because I was not able to just put on my shoes and walk and go somewhere and let my little feet take me somewhere and be stimulated and get on the train and have such access. It was like, oh, I'm here with me and my thoughts and my no car and I'm in the house. It was just like, whoa, I've been outsourcing a lot of my life, a lot of my everything. You know what I mean? Like,
I want to ask you, how is it? Any advice you would get to somebody that wants to come to LA but doesn't have a car And like, you know, once the
although
really,
that is changing, I'm manifesting my car right
Let's
now.
go.
My credit is up. You know what I'm
Period.
saying? I've been building.
Yes. But yeah, somebody trying to move to LA.
Yeah.
They want to, but they don't have a car, and they're like, and that might be the one thing that's inhibiting them from making a move.
Oh, don't let that be the thing. Like, I will say, like, it's a car city. Like, there will be ease that comes with the vehicle, but really it's like if you have the drive to like get up out your house every day, like that's really it, because your car could fully sit in the driveway.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So if that's the thing that's deterring you, like set that aside, because like there are trains and there are buses and there are Uber and whatever, it is pricey, and there's homies that are willing to pick you up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you get to ask for help. You know, like
I feel like people are more willing too, because they understand like everybody has a car, so they're like, oh yeah, just you know, I'll come on.
Yeah.
Like what's a 40-minute drive to a 50-minute drive? It's like I'm still
Right.
driving for that long, so you know, yeah.
Right. And I think just in this day and age, like it is becoming low key unlivable to be in these cities. Like I saw this thing on Instagram, like not that I shop there, but strawberries were $25 at Erewhon. It's like these very basic things. I mean, gas, like I don't want to be that guy right now that's talking about gas prices, but also like, holy shit, what are we doing?
Yeah.
We're turning on this hamster wheel just trying to make it our rent. And like myself included. I'm like, what are you doing here, girl? You could be somewhere on an island.
Yeah.
You know, and your money would be quadrupled.
Facts.
And yet there's something, this is a very potent energetic center. While there has been some of the worst atrocities, I think, on this same land and soil, there is such like an uprising of like, nah, like we got to take care. We got to take care of each other. We got to take care of this land. We got to take care of our bodies. We got to take care of the art. Like, yeah, and I think that's same for New York. I think the same for Atlanta. Like, it's not just that they're metropolitan places. I think that energetically, like on the grid of the earth, if you will, these are like meccas for like ascension.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts. Yeah. Yeah. I've been speaking about rent going up a lot in my songs recently. Like it's a lot of themes of like rent and leaving and kind of like having a sense of freedom, you know, from what I knew due to financial resources or access. And like literally we just drove across the country from New York to LA because rent went up. And like I was like having it had me like it really pushed me like out of my own city, which is kind of crazy to like not feel welcome in my own city due to rent. And like I'm born and raised in New York and I can't afford to live there, which is crazy for me. Like I was like, honestly, Japan was nice. I'm like trying to be over there like for real, because the way they allow you to take care of yourself. And that is very ingrained into the culture.
Concept.
Everyone, like I went there and I was like, yo, everyone's like, I felt like everyone was pampered, but nah, that's just ingrained into the culture. Like
they're just not like strung out trying to survive. Like they're not. Yeah. It's pretty wild. And I mean, LA is kind of, it's becoming that too. Like it's not close or far behind in terms of the inflation of everything.
So what was it like when moving to LA, your experience of building community here? Like how has that journey been?
That's a long and winding road. I was super fortunate in that I moved into the home that my brother had lived in and my sister had come just before me. So I did have my family community, which in some ways, you know, it's so powerful to have that base, and then it kind of keeps you from also needing to branch out.
Yeah,
you know, so I was like,
I'm with my family.
Yeah, I'm with my family. Like, whatever. And I was like, but I don't have any friends. I don't have any friends.
Okay, vocals.
But yeah, it was a long and arduous process, I would say, and a process that is still underway. I feel like, even just this New Year's, like I wound up at at a New Year's party with like incredible musicians that I'd never met before. We were all like 1 degree separated. And I was like, oh my God, like y'all have been here the whole time. You know what I mean? And a pandemic doesn't really help either with building community. We were fully, it's crazy because I get amnesia and forget that shit even happened. I'm like, why does it feel like so much of my last few years is like undocumented in my mind? I'm like, oh yeah. But anyway, pre-pandem, yeah, it was a culture shock. I went from, you know, graduating from NYU with all the homies, which are my sole collaborators, and we were like running New York. I mean, we were gigging everywhere all the time, and it felt like there weren't these barriers of entry. Like I'm gonna hit up Brooklyn Bowl. I'm gonna email the person at Mercury Lounge. I'm gonna email I'm just like, I want to play here. Bet I'm gonna reach out, and beautifully, people were like, absolutely, come through, because we were just about it, you know? Yeah. So coming here, we had just finished recording the Memo EP, and then I come here and it's like remote mixing and like don't have a band, don't really have any of the things that I had. And so again, it was that time for just like, before I make it all about just putting this music out, like, how am I doing? How am I doing? And honestly, I was a little bit depressed. I didn't notice it until like, I napped a lot that year. Like I kept just wanting to sleep all the time. Like I just thought I was tired, but like I wasn't doing much. So like, why was I so tired?
I feel that.
I think I was just trying to, it was a disassociation tool. And I was like, exiting a relationship, entering a relationship. The exiting of that relationship is what my debut album is about, and just not like a breakup album, like fuck you, it's over, but like, whoa, like we did that. That was our 20s, and it was really hard, and it was really crazy, and I was working through crazy religious shame and guilt, and like didn't know how to be a sensual person and not feel like God was gonna come down and smite me. And so all of that was wrapped into like trying to ingratiate and get grounded in a new city. And I'm still trying to find my way, to be honest. Like just moved to this new space in Pasadena, but have met so many beautiful new people. And it's like people are busy. People are touring now, and it does take a little bit more concerted effort to like get in the same room as somebody. I feel like in a city like this.
I really gotta make sure, like, it's in New York, where I was able to do like 2 or 3 sessions a day. It's like, I'm here, I'm happy if I do one, and like happy if, you know what I mean?
I'm happy if I get 1 a week. Like, you know? Right. And then it's like, oh, well, what do I do what can I do with my setup in my crib? And like, there is a sense of self-reliance and efficiency that I think has developed in my time here, because I don't have all my go-to guys and girls. And I think I was also just scared. Like I was just scared to like re-enter or enter a scene for the first time and just feel like I was starting from zero. So it's humbling. It's like, you ain't nobody here, but you can be if you try. Just try.
Facts. Yeah, I wanted to ask you about your band, actually. Like how did that relationship come to be? Like because I know a lot of them are like part of the production of your project and like your songs too. Like y'all just shout out that live performance y'all did. Sound amazing, looked beautiful.
You were the freaking,
you know what I mean? We was on
what's your official role that day?
I think I was cam op, just cam operator.
Shout out to the cam op.
It was dope. But y'all killed it, and I would love to learn about kind of both the creative side and the business side. Like when y'all go to go split stuff, like how does that work? And when y'all go to go record, and like how do you differentiate between recording and like producing, or like rehearsing and producing? I know there's a lot of questions, but
they're big questions, and there's such blurry lines too. Which I think, like, in general, like, I feel like the rubric that we have is like, it's so outdated. Like, it comes from this like Tin Pan Alley era where there was like the piano score and the vocal score, and the lyrics were the publishing and the music was the record, like, but now it's like production is a whole other thing. Like, I don't know. I feel that I'm still trying to figure out how to be fair when like doing splits and like, you know, when you're in the beginning, it's like, I don't really got no money, but like I can take you to dinner after we do this rehearsal.
Yo, facts.
I can like, you know, it's a lot of fate. Like, like bless the homies that are in it from the beginning. And I'm really excited to move out of that type of exchange. You're like, nah, I can like pay you for your time. If not on the front end, then definitely you got splits on the back end. Like,
True.
You know, Ram, who produced this whole record, I couldn't pay him his rate, but you know, he has 50% of everything because also that's just correct. That's like, that's just a sensible split because we really were in it that way. But yeah, I guess with my band specifically, a lot of the times I would have the songs written and kind of produced up as well by way of Ram, and then they'll come in and just they'll embellish. But sometimes their embellishment like changes the whole like harmonic underpinning of the song. So it's like, okay, you're a writer now on this song.
Yeah, like you're playing lines and you're adding. Yeah, you deserve publishing. Like, yeah.
But it's super. I will say it's. I still feel like I'm trying to navigate it because, I feel like it's standard to just like have a hired session players where they're not getting anything on the back end.
Yeah.
But I think.
But what is standard, you know?
What is standard?
Right. That word has always been a word that bothers me.
Standard. That's truth.
Because like we're on email chains with lawyers and like, oh, this is standard, and I'm like, well,
based on what?
I don't agree to it. So how is it standard? It's not my standard.
Right. From what timeline? From what era? Like.
Right. So really always challenging what we know as standard is like super important because we're like. That's how we grow. That's how we That's how we bend and shape what we know as the music industry to make it our own and to make it in favor of the artist. Yeah.
I think you're so right. I feel like, like as a people right now, like gone are the days of like, oh, that's just the way it is. Excuse.
Now when I can post a TikTok and get a million and get a record deal.
You thought like, oh, business is just business. Is it though?
Right.
Is that the business you're trying to be in? And it's like, yeah, it's definitely a new level of responsibility. Like responsibility. We're really creating. I don't want to say new rules because they're not rules, but just new ways of conducting ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and there is like this like desperate claw of like what it was, which I can't even define that.
Right.
And then like this renaissance of like nobody's doing it the same. No one person is doing it the same. I think the only thing that's like at the end and the beginning of the day, like if you got a rack of money, you can probably move the needle a little bit faster.
Right.
But even then, will it stick? Like if there's nothing there, will people even connect?
Right. Yeah, I think just going back to as long as like everyone in the agreement, or whether it's like you and the person you're making with, they both feel like they being taken care of, you know, like they both feel like it's fair, you know, like that's cool with me. Like, I go back to 50-50, like, yo, like, all right, you made the beat, I made the vocals, like, I need the beat to make a song, you need the vocals to make a song, like, let's keep it like that.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy peasy. How do you do it with live players? Like, are they getting cut in on production? Is it just like, is it a rate that you pay them for their time?
Yeah, so I guess like haven't really, I mean, I've done some live, but what I usually do is like the production as a whole is kind of would be like 50% of the record. So say I bring a producer in and we're doing a record and it's 50-50, but he was like, oh, I want to bring my homie in that plays bass.
Right.
So on his end, he probably would cut in, you know, if you want to give 5 or 10 to his homie to that played bass and did one session, you know, 2 hours, and that's cool. And he could, when it comes time, because I rather make sure that everyone that plays on it gets percentage. Yeah. Because I do a lot of syncs and I do a lot of things like that. And like, if I get a huge NBA 2K sync for like 40 grand,
call it in.
And yeah, manifesting that right now.
Hello.
And boom, you know what I mean? You just got 4 bands right there versus me giving you 500 for a session. You know what I mean? Like, it's, I want people to know that, yeah, I'm gonna take care of you on a split side so that you feel like you're invested in it. You're willing to work with me again. You feel like you're being taken care of. And when like the opportunities come and you receive payment for it, you're like, damn, like, yo, I'm actually getting what I deserve for the work I put in. Yeah. Which is how we all should feel when we're doing music. You know, we should never feel shorted. If you're with a distributor and you feel like they're not doing the work and they're taking 20, 30, 40% from your thing, then move to somebody that's allowing you to do 100% and grow to the point where, you know, that actually somebody who can do something can pull up on you and be like, yo, I got you. Like, you know what I mean? So I think that's always fair. Like when I work with live people, I just just kind of been doing 50-50 and on the production side.
That feels clean. Yeah, because as I said, like, it was homies, and I'm like, I'm gonna buy you food, and I'll throw you $100 if I have it, and it's like, no more of that. Yeah, no more of that.
yeah. So let's talk about distribution and how that looks like in terms of what are some, I don't know, maybe requisites or prerequisites that you look at when choosing a distributor. What are some terms that you like? Maybe positive experiences, bad experiences, you know, who you use now, and like,
for sure, you know. I would say in this day and age, your distro is kind of like your lifeline in a lot of ways. It's sort of like if you have relationships with a company and feel like you can, I feel like they're the people that are going to help the public know if you exist or not, in terms of just like people even knowing that the music is available, whether it gets playlisted or not, or whether it can get placed in relevant, you know, brand partnership type things or campaigns or whatever. Like, I would say it's more important than a record deal at this point.
True.
Like, if the distro within our label is not functioning, then like don't even go toward it. I've gone through a few different distributors. I was with Platoon early on. You know, that functioned well.
You know, my music was on Spotify.
Yeah, and then I shifted over to AWOL for a bit, and that was the first time they actually offered a bit of an advance, which honestly at that time, like, it was 10 grand, but like I was able to shoot like 4 videos for the Memo EP off that. Of course, I had like homie rates with this one director who just like felt passionate about the music, but like that really came in handy.
Hell yeah.
And you know, I've since recouped, and it was low enough of an offer, but high enough that it really benefited me at that time. Like, I had just moved to LA, and like the pockets weren't really, you know.
Yeah, so congrats on recouping. Yeah, a lot of artists don't recoup.
It took a couple of years, but I recouped. And now I've recently shifted over to Vidya, which has been really cool. Shout out to Hey Also. I've seen beyond them just being like the aggregator that gets it on these DSPs, which you could do with DistroKid, you could do with all these just like
TuneCore, CD Baby,
very
all that.
DIY. It's nice to have a person to like check in with, and we talk strategy. And I've seen some editorial playlisting that's been, you know, helpful. And it kind of gives me the willies though to talk about it though, because like the very platforms that are so crucial to people understanding that we even exist are so, they really just don't give a fuck about us making any sort of living off of the thing that we're doing.
Facts.
But they position themselves in such a way that they're such a powerful, I mean, I remember at NYU, like the heads or like different people from branches of Spotify, like they were just starting, they were coming in and like talking about this, you know, startup company where, you know, sharing music and having such a wide library of all types of genres, classical and international and pop and whatever. And it was like, oh, cool. And like, it was a free program. Like they really just did the slow, long game. You remember when it was free for so long?
Yeah.
And then it was like ads out the ass. And then it's like, well, that's inconvenient. I'll just pay $10. Okay. And I'll just pay $15. Okay. Yeah. You know, it's just like, whoa. And suddenly that's your only that's how you consume art. That's how you
Right.
know things are coming out. All that to say, yeah, in order to sit on these DSPs in a way that feels worthwhile, like having distribution or someone around that can vouch for you is sort of essential. And like, unfortunately, I think that these platforms such as Spotify, such as Apple Music, like, I think they have a much more artist forward presentation than what it really is behind, like under the hood, if you will.
It's data.
You know what I'm saying?
It's purely data driven. Like especially speaking on a Spotify end. I don't know about the other ones, but Spotify.
Same. I don't know. Same. Spotify more so.
Like shout out Tidal because they've been showing love, but Spotify, I feel is purely data. How many saves? How many? Is it skipped?
100%. And also,
that's how they ended up editorial playlisting.
Yeah.
Instead of like, this sounds good, let me put it in front of people, even if he got 5 monthly listeners. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's kind of twisted because ultimately, like, I want people to know that they can experience my music. So I can't pretend like these platforms, like, they are trash. And yet, am I going to not put my stuff on these places? Like, I want people to experience me.
Yeah.
So it's this. Something's got to give though, because it's not sustainable, and it's like there's no real love there in terms of like being able to build a living off of the things that we create. Right. I had something else that escaped me. Perhaps it'll return at a later date. Distribution. Oh, and then like the whole like Spotify for artists and like direct to editor. You can pitch it yourself. It's like. It's a song and I know, right? It's a song and dance.
Yeah, like there's sometimes where I'll be like, oh, I will delay a release because I'm like, oh, I need the 4 weeks to pitch to the editors at Spotify.
And then you do that.
And then like crickets when it drops. You're like, yo, bro, my pitch is a work of art, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, I felt the same. Like, push things back because we wanted that 3-4 week lead time. And there's been other instances where I'm like, nah, like it's a full moon. I actually need this out today. And like. And then it got on Fresh Finds. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, you got to go with your gut. And like, at the end of the day, these DSPs are in bed with the labels. Yeah. They have, because the labels have so much leverage. It's like, oh, if you're not going to place my artist, we're going to pull their music from your platform, and good luck having a platform. Yeah.
When it comes to Spotify and these labels, like Universal has like a significant portion of ownership into Spotify. So
sure.
They have interest to playlist their artists because it's beneficial to both parties, which is, in my opinion, a conflict of interest.
Right.
You know,
they have to appease the shareholders at the end of the day. But like, appeasing shareholders versus like allowing really incredible, new, inspiring music to be searchable.
Yeah.
Findable. It's like, who y'all really serving?
Yeah, so I don't know. These days I really like behoove every artist to find a distributor that allows you to have the most ownership possible, the most percentage possible.
That part.
Because I found a lot of distributors, a lot of labels, even distributors that give distro deals to artists, they look for artists that have it all together. They have the team, they have the visual identity, they have they don't need to do much.
Yeah.
They just need to be like, oh yeah, he's our label. So when he does well, they root for it. They're like, oh yeah, it's because we did that. And when it goes bad, they look the other way, like, oh no.
Yeah.
They look for the next one.
I'm not sure that we've met.
Yeah, right. So it's frustrating because especially me and KAYLI literally doing everything.
Yeah.
Who else deserves percentage? Like, we literally do everything. So it's like, if y'all ain't it was really dope to hear about your relationship with Vidya and like you actually having strategy calls. Like that's foreign for me. Like that's so foreign. Like that it hasn't ever really been someone caring enough to wanting to even talk about strategy or like or even tapping me to push me to like, hey, did you think about this? Did you think about that? It's always been me following up. Hey, so any updates?
Steering the ship.
Follow up 5 times. Hey, have you got my email? Like, here's everything you possibly could need 4 weeks in advance.
Right.
So you can do your pitching. And then 2 days before it drops, oh yeah, we're starting to pitch now. I'm like, yo, what?
You got me fucked up. I will say, you guys have really, I feel like you've leveraged the sort of like lack of enthusiasm that you've received from these companies to just get active. Like y'all are not waiting on anybody or anything to pop off. Like you are your own cheerleaders, you are your own PR, you are your own marketing, you are your own creative directors. Like that's if there's rules, like those are the new rules. Like it's inspiring to see the both of you. Shout out KAYLI.
Shout out KAYLI.
Just like there's no victim mentality here, is what I feel from you. Which, because it can be that way sometimes. It's like, damn, I put all this work, like nobody cares. And it's like, oh, like, but if I care and if I'm smart and if I'm strategic and if I do the stuff that's kind of unsexy with the spreadsheets and the emailing and the admin, like you're setting yourself up for sustainable success, When I found that a lot of people at labels are literally doing what you're doing every day,
doing in terms of like the advertising, right? So I've been running all my ads for like the past 3-4 years, successfully. And we reached out to this advertiser, and he did like the ads for like Doja Cat, Say So, and like made that song blow up. And then he took a look into my ads, and he was like, "Yo, you're actually really good at this." Like, and I was like, "Wow!" Like, that's all I needed to know that literally I'm doing it the right way and how I've been doing it, which is go on YouTube, watch a 15-minute video with somebody doing a Facebook ad or doing a Google ad. I'm like, labels are doing the same thing. They're going on YouTube. We're all learning from YouTube. And that was like, wow, I can really do this. And that money that I would then get from a label and have to recoup or have to pay an advertiser to set up an ad, which is literally, it'll take you 5 or 10 minutes to do. And you can only present yourself, the best way to present yourself to the world, period. And that and it'll dynamically change as you change, you know what I mean? Because a label might have a bio from 2019 and still representing you that way. And you're like, yo, I don't know. My feet touched the grass today and I changed. So my bio finna change. You know what I mean?
Right.
And to be able to constantly update and grow your brand, like with the snap of a finger, and run ads that represent you and do it well, like, and just spend $3, $4, $5 a day doing it and reach so much more people that I don't know. It's been cool to be able to dive into that back end world. And to see success from it and like, oh wow, these guys are doing really well, and like it's reaching people. Like,
for my own edification, walk me through, okay, you got a new song out. What does an ad look like for a typical release? Like, say, Oil Leak. Like what did that
so Oil Leak,
look like?
I went in on Oil Leak, right?
Yeah.
So on my Facebook ads manager, boom, I was like really diving in. I was like, all right, so who's drawn to the song, right? I was like, oh, probably 90s hip hop fans, probably alternative hip hop fans, probably fans of Kendrick Lamar, probably fans of lo-fi hip hop, And
so these are like hashtags that you're writing in.
These are different ad sets, right? So you have, boom, your campaign, which is Oil Leak streaming, right? And I'm trying to send people to Spotify, right? Because that's the one thing where I'm kind of plugging Spotify, and then once it blows, it kind of trickles down to all the other things, right? And in that, I have different ad sets, right? And I have the Kendrick Lamar one, and I'll go into the interests, right, on Facebook, and I say must include Spotify, and then the one interest there is Kendrick Lamar, right? And I'll go into and I reference this, and I have like a split screen. I have Spotify open. I go to my the audience, and I see, okay, my fans are 18 to 44. They're mainly in the US, right? So cool. And on Facebook, I'll mimic that, like 18 to 44.
You'll take that data.
I'll take that data from Spotify. That's where I'm sending people. So I want to make sure I'm targeting the right people.
Right.
And that one ad set is Kendrick Lamar. In that ad set, this is where you kind of go crazy with the amount of different content. You never know what content is going to hit. So I have first verse, second verse, first hook, second hook. I have me rapping in the car. I have the lyric video. I have boom. I have just, all this, the different content that we've made in advance for the single. And one ad set had like 8 ads in it. Right. And then you just duplicate that 5 times and each one has a different audience. So boom, that first one was Kendrick. The second one is lo-fi, and like I went in lo-fi hip hop, lo-fi jazz. Like, I went in like when I Googled, I've been using Google Trends a lot just to kind of see what people are searching on Google and YouTube.
Sure.
And you can just look by YouTube search, and I say hip hop, and then a lot of it is just lo-fi, and it's just the lo-fi beats to study to that people have on in the background, and they want beats that kind of sound like that. And I was like, okay, like Oily is kind of in that realm. It's not like a banger. It's very like, if you're just playing the beat, like it could possibly be on the lo-fi beats to study.
Sure.
So I've been going in like that, and each one of those ad sets include all of those interests, and in total you're making 40 different ads. It doesn't seem like it'll take you like maybe an hour or two to set everything up, but you're making 40 different ads, and Facebook goes in and tries each one. And even that whole campaign could be just $5 a day. Right.
Wow.
And it goes in and it will just not spend money where it does bad and spend money where it does good. And I found that it was just like this one first verse of the lyric video that was doing better than everything else. And all the ad spend was there. And I was like, okay, cool. Maybe that's a hint for me to post that again on my socials. Maybe that's a hint again to me to promote the lyric video more than the phone video or like something like that. So using the data that you're able to get yourself, and this is data that if you're signed to a label, they'll hold that. Yeah, they won't share that with you.
No idea why certain people are connecting to what.
Yeah,
or
they
what
will
they're even
not
connecting to
give
more.
that to you, and that data is so valuable for you to know, because you can then use that to inform how you reach out to your audience. So yeah, that's how I've been doing it, and that's like one of the many steps that I use to set up my Facebook ads, and it's something very similar to the Google ads.
And you're saving yourself upwards of $3,000 a month having somebody on retainer doing that for you.
And they're doing the same thing. They're just going into your thing. They're setting up the pixel to kind of track who goes to the website, and they're doing the same thing. And they're just, you know what I mean? Like, so once I found out how much work they're actually entailing, and I was like, oh, I'm paying you like, $2-3 I hope they're going to work hard. And it's not the case.
And it's like, that's an expensive hope.
Yeah.
That's an expensive hope tab. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's how I do it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that left brain stuff. Just the like nitty grit. Like I do struggle.
Yeah, that's real. That's real.
With those sorts of things. And I'm just allowing myself to do things that I don't necessarily love. Or if I really don't fucking love it, I might need to hire you to help me do my ads,
yeah, nah, I'll give you a homie rate for sure.
Delegation is also a
but
skill.
I'm big on education. So like the whole thing is like, how can I, it's not just hire me and have me on retainer and I'm just taking your money. It's like, no, hire me to like maybe teach you one time.
There we go.
And then you can do it.
That's
and you're literally with me. I'm walking you through it. And next time you're like, yo, I got you. And you can even call me like, yo, did I do this right? Here's how it is. And I'm like, yo, you did it right. And you're like, yo, I did it right. You know what I mean? Like,
we gonna have to talk.
That's how it should be,
a
though.
little education class.
Yeah.
Pay you for that, and then I know better what I'm doing next time.
Literally, like, but it doesn't even have to be, bro. I think it should be like a resource that's available because the Facebook ads and the Google ads like stuff is so gatekept. Yeah. Because that's how people make bread. And I'm like, but as artists, like it's bread that we don't have to spend. Like we'd rather put that bread into making the actual music and the visuals behind it and making it sound great. Right. So the left brain stuff isn't stuff that I necessarily enjoy doing, but it was out of necessity. Totally. Like, I literally did not have the bread to pay people, but my songs weren't reaching the people they needed to reach. And I'm like, why am I spending all this time making the song if it's not going to reach the people? That was the middle ground of just diving in and being like, all right, this week I'm learning everything I need to know. And yeah.
Power to you. It's inspiring.
All right, total pivot. But when it comes to like singing, like how you warm up? Because your voice be sounding crazy on these records.
Funny. So shout out to my teacher, Kristen Ruiz. I've been with her since freshman year of NYU. Found her on like the database of teachers, and she has endowed me with just so many tools, so many techniques that have made my experience of singing just the freest it's ever been. I literally just, this is just, okay, I can't even get it out. It just keeps getting better. Like it's crazy. I feel freer than ever before. And so much of that freedom has come from decoupling laryngeal effort with passion.
Love that. Laryngeal effort.
Like it's like, okay, there's something attractive about that. We've seen people like belting their faces off. And not to say that that's not a viable way to produce sound. But for somebody like me who will be singing to the grave, it was imperative for me to find that technique. Because I went strong and wrong. I got my first European tour coming out of college. I was on the double-decker bus performing 8 nights a week. I had this gig where I was singing every night, and like it was, you know, I'm drinking the Jameson on the rider and I'm smoking the joint after the show, and I'm also talking to 1,000 fans afterwards, and like my shit it fizzled into dust. I came home off this tour, was warming up in the shower one day, and it was like it wasn't there. God is so good. My teacher, just out of nowhere, emails me and is like, I owe you a class from like third semester, whatever year. I'm like, Kristen, it's crazy. You're emailing me right now because my voice just broke. She's like, whoa, come in, sing for me. Let's see what's up.
Wow.
So I go in, and she was like, have you ever gotten scoped before? And I hadn't. That's like when they put the camera down your nose and you can actually see your folds vibrating.
Oh, shit.
She's like, you might want to see what's going on in there.
So it goes in your nose on your mouth?
It goes through your nose and captures your trachea, like just above your trachea. It captures your folds vibrating.
Wow.
Is it above the trachea? Is it inside of the trachea? Is inside? The anatomy of it all.
Yeah.
All that to say, I had scarring on my left fold. And I was like, great. Well, that's it. Fuck that up. Broke my voice. There's a scar. Like that. It just felt so final. And they're like, well, you could like get an injection to soften the tissue or some sort of surgery, or you could just like go on vocal rest and like go to vocal therapy and rehabilitate yourself. So this was when I was like, 22, 23. Thank God it happened when I was so young. Like my tissues can regenerate, and the voice is so resilient. Like once you give it some good stuff, it comes back. Like it's a fair exchange. So yeah, I really it humbled me because I'm a born singer. Like God said she gonna be a singer. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like I open up my mouth and like, it sounds good. People like it. Even if I'm not necessarily producing sound in the most healthy way, it sounds good. But it caught up with me, and I really had to go back to the basics, and I'm so grateful. I'm actually a voice teacher now. Hit me up, Singing with Kiah Victoria.
I might need to hit you up.
At gmail.com.
Let's go.
But yeah, I've been so fascinated with just the anatomy of the voice and vowel shapes and embouchure and breath, and like, because I feel like of all the instruments, it's kind of like people just expect you to wake up and be able to like hit your highest note with no prep. And it's like, okay, but you would never expect that. Like you're going to let the trombonist warm up. You're going to let the bassist like get his levels. Like because it's living tissue that lives inside of our bodies and it's invisible. There's this weird, like, I wake up and I'm Mariah, and it's like, nah, like I wake up and I do have to warm up, and I do have a regiment, which you can find out about if you'd like me to be a voice teacher.
I tried it.
No. But like, yeah. So there's definitely my go-to arpeggios and scales and techniques that'll just free up the voice, bring it more forward, allow for that subglottal pressure to diminish. And I love it. I feel like there's also this romanticization of like yeah, like take a shot of whiskey, smoke a cig, and be Janis Joplin, which like that's also amazing.
Yeah.
We lost our sister at 27 though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, and not
we
to
trying to live long,
not
though.
to conflate, like that's a whole other like, you know, the vulnerability of artists and then going through their Saturn return and then industry not giving a fuck about the most, you know, integral people to our culture. That's a whole other thing. But at the same time, is all it is a lack of care. So for me, my vocal practice is like, it's how I show care to the thing that like I love the most. That is like truly a gift. And it's like, if I don't take care of that, like I really can't, I ain't got time to be canceling tours because my throat hurts.
Yeah.
And not to say that's not shade, and that's not to say like it's a living body, so who knows what can happen. But as long as I can like reduce the risk on my end, yeah.
Yeah. I always feel like a little like, I don't know, is it embarrassed or nervous or like, I don't know, I'm a rapper doing, you know, lip trills. I'm a rapper doing like, you know,
Lean into it, baby.
You know what I mean?
That's
like
great.
I haven't really seen that many rappers like doing vocal warm-ups, even if they're just rapping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
it's the same instrument.
Yeah.
A lip trill will get you up.
You know what I mean?
That will change your life. Come on.
You know what I mean?
Ping. Okay, placement.
Yeah.
Definitely that's a go-to. And then if you add the pinch, that's a whole other thing.
Oh wow. Okay. No,
It brings it into this like,
I'm gonna have to hire you. I'm gonna have to
listen,
take your class.
a little barter, a little
Yeah.
ad spend.
I guess
tutorial.
like how long? Like how long is this warm up? Is it like 10 minutes, 15, 30? Like
Yeah, so my lessons, I tend to like study with my teacher for an hour. But like even if you're moving the voice around 10, 15 minutes a day in like a focused way, like whoo.
that'll do wonders for you.
Wonders.
Okay,
It's
bet.
maintenance and preventative. And it's so that when you do, I was talking to my teacher about this the other day, like we do all this stuff so that in the moment of performance, we don't have to think about any of it. Like it's so ingrained. That's the only reason why we practice, so that when we're in the moment on the stage in front of a collection of souls, like we're not thinking about like, do I raise my tongue? Did I like pucker my lips enough? Did I take it like,
Yeah.
that's not the place for that, you know?
That sounds very familiar to when I did this Lorianne Gibson class, and she was like, the character, like you're able to go into the body when repetition is there.
Yeah.
Like I can't do, like if I'm doing a show and it's a song that I haven't rehearsed, or I'm like in the back of my head like, oh, is that the right word? Is that versus
Right.
like being here with you, knowing I have all the confidence.
Yes.
And knowing that what the next word I'm saying is not what I'm worried about. I'm worried about connecting with the people that are in front of me
100%.
and them hearing the words that I'm saying in the intention and the power that it's meant to be performed at.
Totally. That preparation is everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Right.
Practice makes perfect.
Let's
or something close to it.
Yeah, let's go. I guess a lot of people don't know that Billie Eilish is a huge fan of you. Can we talk about this?
We can talk about it.
I need you
know
to
what I'm
brag about
saying?
that and
That's
bring it
so
back.
Funny.
Like,
I'm
let's
gonna bring it back because Ornament is about to hit 3 million streams.
Let's go.
My highest streaming song.
3 milli.
You know, yeah. A few years back, I was like, woke up to hundreds of new followers and then thousands of new followers, and I was like, why is this happening? And everyone kept saying, Billie brought me here. Billie brought me here. I'm like, who is Billie though? I don't know who this
Billie
is.
Holiday or
Billie Holiday. And it was Billie Eilish, and I was like, whoa, this girl's got some legs and some wings. So yeah, she posted Ornament on her story and was like, this slaps. And then like a couple other videos of her just like being moody and cute and like singing the words along with it in the background, and then posted another song, and then talked about it on her interview with Vogue, and then had the song playing as one of her favorite songs of all time. Actually, the best song ever is what she called it, with her radio show with her dad on Apple Music.
Get the quote.
You know what I'm saying? And then the day that her album came out, with Enemy Magazine, she had a release interview, and I was one of her top 5 favorite underground artists, and like,
Wow.
It was super cool. And then I got to see her at her show and like met her family, and I was like, this is like, she was a fan of me before I knew who she was, and I was like, that's pretty cool. So there's been a lot of just organic like discovery through that. that was the first time I started to see like placements on anything in terms of the DSPs, because there was just all these young people super passionate about, at the very least, ornament. So yeah, she's a fan. Was trying to turn that into a session, a tour, or something, but you know, I understand you doing your thing, and just honestly, the mutual love and respect was really cool.
Yeah,
you know, like
I love that. I love when like it's not like I'm too big or too Hollywood to show love to someone who's on the come up. Like,
yeah, she DM'd me and was like, "Where you at? Like, you're so amazing." I was like, "Wow, thanks. You're lit too." You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think that's one of like the most powerful things we can do as artists is like, just be like, yo, this person's amazing. Hey, have you heard about this person? Like that quality, like if someone already bumps with you, like they're going to jump on that bandwagon, you know? And it's not even a bandwagon. It's just like a beautiful place to be.
Yeah. Honestly, that's the purpose of this whole like platform, is really just like, it's not just me. Like I want to put people on to my friends, my collaborators, like people that I know and respect, and like look at them, like look at Kiah, go listen to her music, she's fire. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
I love it.
So what's next for Kiah? Anything you want to plug for the people?
Yeah, so I just actually got back from New York filming some music videos for this debut album that has been many years in the making. And honestly, there have been times along the way where I'm just like, I don't even care about this anymore. I don't think anybody else is going to care about it either. And I had to move through those, you know, waves. But your girl's coming out with like some of the best music she's ever made in her life.
I've heard it. It's amazing. I can't wait for y'all to hear it.
Yeah. So we're every month of the summer leading up to the fall will be new music with the visual. KAYLI was a part of one of my favorite visuals that I've ever shot. And the debut album is coming. And then we wept in the fall. So I'm really excited. It feels like quite an offering, and so much transmutation went into just the creation of it. So I'm proud and excited.
Can we talk about how prepared you are for this album? Like, this album is done. Like, and you're sitting on a done album right now. Like,
how does it feel? You would think I would feel more prepared.
Like, let's go. You more prepared than me. I don't got no project. I'm making one, but you got a done project.
It's wild though. It's like you finish the music and it's like, whoa. In some ways, some of the work is still just beginning. You know, like finding the funding, getting the visuals together, making the plan. In the process of this album, I like let go of my previous team. There was just so much restructuring happening, like in my own body, in my own heart, in my own life, artistically. So this has been it's been a long haul. And I think just because some of this stuff feels like old news to me, like the world gets to hear this fresh, you know, and I can't control how it's going to affect them. And when I do offer it out, like it's been really beautiful. It's been really tearful. It's been really healing. And so it's a good reminder, like, get out your way, Kiah. Like, it's not my job to know exactly how. I mean, in some ways it is my job to know how it's going to be delivered. And then at some point it's like, it's not mine anymore. And I'm really excited to get at that stage where it's off my hard drive. It's out in the world. And we've been dropping slowly leading up to this very important release.
Yeah. When you said that, I thought of a pizza delivery person, and like literally like them coming, they have it's in the box, it's all like prepped, and they pull up, the pizza's perfect. Right. But it's not their job to how the pizza is being ingested. Like, right. Like, did you put it on a plate? You can eat it crust first. You can eat it tip first. Listen,
are there extra sauces and garnishing that you're putting on that? Like, are you reheating it before you?
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Eating the crust first might just be shuffling through the album. Who knows? Right. Like, that's crust crazy. Don't do that.
I don't know if those are my people, but bless everyone. God bless everyone.
When you said, I was like, oh wow, yeah, that's a great analogy. Yeah,
I love that. What's next for you? Man, Oil Leak just came out. Amazing video. You shot it in Japan.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, Oil Leak was the first ever music video shot in Japan, and it was really dope to really extend that rollout of a song and and being prepared, like having multiple assets, having lyric video, having
making it a moment,
having that
having it moment.
Live. So next thing I drop is like another moment. You know what I mean? So right now I'm kind of developing this little EP, and it's been dope to just really take my time, and every record is more encompassing of like what I really like and listen to. I've been singing a lot more. I've been really in my bag. I've been doing like harmonies and runs and all that, and like really getting into, there was this, so I have like this like project that I had for a while, and it was one song on it that I was really like in this certain timbre, and I was like, yo, I wanna, this character, I need to come back to that.
Yeah.
And these new songs that I've been making, it's like coming back to that song, so that song don't really feel like an outlier on that project. It just feel like one of the main characters that I might hop into, and I'm loving it. I'm loving being able to be a lot more expressive with my voice, because not that I don't love rap, or it just feels like when it's what I know. So like when I go to,
you're stretching out a little bit.
When I go to do the fast rap and the flows and all that, like that's easy for me. And doing the harmonies and taking time and like giving space between the words and letting it sit, coming back with another melody, all that, like that's difficult.
Right.
And I'm always trying to search for what's difficult and grow there and expand. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, thank
amazing. Thank you so much.
The interview was dope. I appreciate you. Follow Kiah Victoria on everything. Akinyemi's Living Room, episode 3. Let's go.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yes, the scholarly. Oh, that's okay. I didn't know what was coming.
Yeah.